Well, hope your Thanksgiving week is off to a great start. Welcome to the Coach McVay Show, presented by Microsoft Surface. I'm JB, along with D'Marco Farr and the head coach of your Los Angeles Rams, coming off a season sweep of the Seattle Seahawks, Sean McVay. Sean, welcome back. How you doing?
Doing good. Really happy for the guys. I mean, I thought the defense was outstanding. Kept us in the fight as a team the whole game. Thought the offense then did a good job of being able to play their best when it was, when it was required. We talk about being at your best when your best is required, and they were able to do that in the most important moments. There was some hidden yardage where I thought Tutu did a great job of drawing some PIs that don't necessarily show up, don't come away with points on one of the drives where you get all the way down to the 2. But they just stayed in it. And I thought special teams made their positive contributions. I thought Benny Sco was especially a standout. And so big time job by the guys. Really happy for them. A lot of good emotion, a lot of energy and effort, a lot of grit that I thought was displayed by our players. And now how we move forward is the most important thing, but it makes the Thanksgiving week a little bit more enjoyable. It's a little bit more enjoyable opener.
Always.
Yeah.
W's are always good before Thanksgiving, no doubt. Yeah, that's got to feel good for the football team, right?
It does. You see the work that these guys have put in, D'Marco, and I'm just really happy for them. And I thought the coaches did a great job. I thought the players came off the bye with the right kind of energy. And the encouraging thing is that especially when you look at a couple of the different phases offensively, there can be some great opportunities to be able to improve on. But what I want guys to make sure that they don't forget is, hey, they played their best in those most important moments. We'll learn from it. And now it's about eyes forward towards the Cardinals and seeing, how we can play them well this Sunday.
You look at two of your wins against Seattle this year in the second half, of both dominant on the defensive side of the football. Combined, 3 points, 5 first downs, 97 net yards. What can you say about what the defense did yesterday, but really in 2 games against the Seahawks this year?
I think they got off the field on third downs, and they just did a great job of rising up. You look at it, I think in the first game, it was such a complete team effort where offensively, as soon as the defense got off the field offensively, they were able to sustain possession and hold the ball and be able to score points. And then even in a lot of instances yesterday, especially in the fourth quarter, but really after we had that one turnover, I thought there was a great ability to be able to sustain possession of the football, ultimately score some points to be able to give, our team the lead to go up 17-16. But the defense, they were just so good on third down, but you're not going to be really great on third down unless you're pretty good on first and second down to put them in unfavorable spots. But making plays, I just think staying connected, playing 11 as one, that was on display all day.
No doubt. Bobby Brown, that was his first half sack, correct? I think so.
Back into
first
it,
time getting into that was
IR.
awesome. Yeah, big fella.
Yeah.
Never like your first, big time. DK's pick.
What was your first sack that you got?
Bobby Hebert. Can you believe it?
Is that right?
Bobby Hebert right here.
How many did you rush?
How many did I rush?
Were you guys rushing 4?
We were rushing 4. Yeah.
So were you on the slide?
I won, tapped him, he went down, and they didn't call it a sack until after. Like, they had to, talk about it. And then they gave me a sack, and I, jumped to the moon.
So wait, you won so quick that he just went down, and then you had to
He
tap
tried
him?
to fake it and throw it, tried to take the sack from me. I knew his knee hit. They said, that's a sack. And then they finally gave me one, and I went nuts.
There you go.
Mommy, look, I did it. It was great.
I love it.
DK's pick, I thought, was huge. For the game, definitely. But for him, going back to Green Bay on the bench, and then you finally get an op, and you make one of the biggest plays in the game. I thought that was huge.
Yeah, and I thought his response was such a cool reflection of this group. Aubrey Pleasant does such a great job with those guys on the back end in general, but just their relationship, their rapport, and then watching the way that he responded, like you mentioned, and thought he made a lot of different plays, not exclusive to just that interception. Pass breakups, coming up as a support player in the run game. I was really pleased with the way that he played. Happy for him. The only thing we got to do is make sure we don't get the penalty as a team afterwards. Some guys were running on the field. We
kind of get excited, man.
Right?
It's fun.
We got to learn from it, though.
I know how big the touchdown going into the half was, but I want to talk about the defense that made that really possible, with 2 defensive tackles making those red zone stops. First, Aaron chasing Charbonnet to the sideline, and then Kobe forcing that intentional grounding to kind of keep that a long field goal rather than a potential 2-touchdown lead.
It was huge, JB, and you mentioned it. I mean, to put him in basically a known pass on third down, they try to run a perimeter play. Aaron basically plays, inside the guard and then redirects. I thought that was a huge credit to Byron Young setting the edge. You could see Quentin Lake is coming from inside out as well. So the pursuit, then Aaron's athleticism to be able to finish that play, and then just had a little inside twist on the third down. I thought our coverage was really good. We matched up all the routes really well. Gino's got to basically throw it away and ends up being an intentional grounding, and you lose the down and move them back. And so that 2-play sequence was really big to just keep it to a 13-0 game. And then offensively, thought Matthew made a bunch of big plays on that drive, and then obviously capped off by an outstanding connection by he and Puka. Strong finish, in the red area, and that was big for the momentum of the team just going into the half, in spite of how many different things we had to fight through to make it a 6-point game. That was big, and I think the guys believed that and felt like, all right, hey, now here we go.
We were on the headset saying, like, this team needs a spark. We thought Russ Yeast had it. Could have been a pick six if he catches that, right? He walks in. And then Aaron does what Aaron does. You know what I mean? If you want to know what a Hall of Famer does, that's what he does. One big hit changes the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just takes it over when you need to have that.
Closers close and, finishers finish, or however you want to look at it. But, there's those opportunities to really be able to identify and recognize those moments where the game is potentially where you can just pivot it in your favor. And he's always been a catalyst for our team since I've been here to be able to recognize and identify those. And then I think what happens is you create that positive momentum, and then offensively they're playing off of one another. And I thought you saw that reflected particularly in the fourth quarter.
What did it mean to have Ernest Jones back in the middle of your defense?
It was huge. I think just his overall energy. I mean, he's one of these guys that just has a magnetism about himself that people get excited. He's got a play energy. I mean, the guy loves playing football, and he's feeling good. Giving him an opportunity to really be able to have a couple weeks. We missed him against Green Bay, but I thought that enabled him to be able to have a couple weeks to really get himself right, feel good. I thought that was reflected in the way that he played, but his play energy, his production, his communication, all of those things, it was a big boost for our football team without a doubt.
We say this every week, man. You got a tough quarterback, man.
He's tough.
Matthew Stafford is unbelievable. And this is his first start back after the injury, so it's theoretically can only get better from here. But to have him out there making the plays he made coming off the injury, I thought was awesome.
Yeah, no question. And I think, you mentioned it. After he took the shot, and you're down 16-7, that was when he played his best football. And that's what the great ones do. They find a way. And in spite of everything that's occurred before, whether, I could do a better job, whether we can do a better job, whether there's some things that we can all learn from, coaches and players alike, hey, how do we stay in the moment? And then how do we just capitalize on these opportunities and be totally and completely present? He made throw after throw. I mean, the one long completion that he had to Puka off the play action where he knifes it over the top of their weak side hook player, and you can see, they've got a secondary guy kind of driving on it. I mean, that was an unbelievable throw and catch. I thought he made a bunch of big-time plays, managed the offense, and got us in a chance to, to be able to score, two big conversions that we had to be able to take the lead.
Any chance that play you referenced where we got cut in half was inspired by Lincoln Riley and Caleb at the Coliseum a couple weeks ago?
Yes. It looked a little different than when they ran that against Washington. I'm watching that, and you credit, Bobby Wagner did a good job of forcing him to not be able to sell that quite as much. Tariq Woolen made a heck of a play, but yes, we had stolen that from those guys and put our own little spin on it. It definitely didn't work as good as theirs did. So that was a stupid idea.
No, when you watch that and see a guy take a shot,
it looked a lot better in practice, guys.
Wow, but I mean, the dude almost bisected him and he got up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's like a good fighter. You take that good gut punch and you just pop up and you say, all right, let's go ahead and finish this fight.
Yeah. Michael Myers with an arm. You just can't kill the guy. Yeah.
Why didn't he give Bobby that spin move that he gave Boye Mafe earlier in the game?
That was a heck of a play.
I mean, Matthew's mobility was subtly really important.
It was.
Going to Higbee, too, in the fourth quarter.
I thought those were big plays, and really he made a lot of his best plays, when we were on the move, being able to activate some of those early down passing game, different concepts, whether it's your boots, some of your play actions. But no, he did a really good job, and those were key and critical plays.
Did we ask about Kupp yet? I forgot. Did we ask about Cooper? How's
Obviously,
Cooper?
you weren't listening.
Did we? We did. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Aaron.
No, you're good.
I don't know. Did we talk about it yet?
I'm not sure.
We talked about it off the air.
Oh, okay. How's
for the benefit of our audience?
How's he doing? Is he good? Yes.
He's doing good. You know, it was it was a great block that he made to be able to spring a big Royce Freeman run. Unfortunately, gets rolled up on, and he wanted to try to come back in and play. Just felt like it came out as he's got a lateral ankle sprain. And I think that was positive information. He'll be day to day as his injury status, but there's nobody that's more motivated to come back. He has shown that he can really overcome, some different setbacks that we've had this year, but this guy is steady. He's a special person, special player. And then I was really happy to see the way that Austin Trammell stepped up and did a really nice job in his absence.
Where'd this guy come from?
How about the way that whole room pops? Because that could be really deflating for a position group, for an offense. But Coach Yarbs had Trammell ready. Demarcus Robinson played some big downs for you.
He did. Yeah, I think Eric Yarber does a great job. And that whole room, everybody got in on the action. Benny Sco made a couple big plays. He had some really big production, as a blocker. You can see even on Darrell Henderson's touchdown run, he's making a big block at the point of attack, being able to chop Julian Love down. Benny Sco was another contributor. Austin Trammell comes in there, Tutu and Puka, both, Puka did a great job in some crunch time moments. And it was awesome to be able to see D-Rob make that big catch off of the play action. And I thought he did some really good stuff, not exclusive to that also.
Yeah, and outside of the play we talked about where Matthew got hit, I thought protection was pretty darn good outside of the first series.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I thought we did a really good job of holding up. I thought outside of the second and third plays offensively, I thought those guys did really well. And I thought they gave us an opportunity. And that's where I think we've got to be more, consistent with our overall execution, whether that be getting guys in the right spots, the way we want to distribute the field, the way that we're getting through different things, the way that we're making the plays or catching the football, working edges on people. But I did think our guys up front gave us a chance, and that'll be a big point of emphasis. We've got to do a better job on collectively, as a whole, coaches and players, just the overall execution, specifically in the drop back area.
I didn't ask that twice, right?
No, you're good.
Just making sure. Okay, good.
Other than Cooper, anyone else on the injury report this week that we're looking for?
There's a couple guys with their typical bumps and bruises, Puka and Coleman Shelton, but I think they should be good to go. Benny Sco, got a little hip pointer, playing tough. Quentin Lake had his hamstring a little bit, came in with some soreness. We'll see how he's feeling on that. We'll kind of just take it day to day, and then hopefully we'll be able to get Kobe Durant back from his stinger.
Kobe and maybe Kyron Williams too had the huge second half the last time we saw him, which happened to be against the Cardinals.
It did, so we're looking forward to getting him back. I know he's excited. He's put a lot of work in, and so getting him back will add a big boost to our offense, and that'll be great for him.
Oh yeah, I see your Royce Freeman, by the way. We see you.
How about carrying Bobby Wagner to pick up those couple extra yards and keep that drive alive?
Huge. I mean, on that 3rd down and 2, to do that, to really be able to keep the clock moving, because if you have to kick the field goal at that point, that's gonna change a big part of how you can operate and how the latter part of the game is played. But instead, you're able to churn off a lot, and then Puka ends up getting a first down on the jet sweep that he had. Would love to have punched that in with the touchdown. I got asked about that after the game. The most important thing was, hey, once we got down inside the 10, it's like, all right, if we score a touchdown, they've got to go score a touchdown. But if we kick a field goal for them wins it, because you're only going up 1 point. And so we were really trying to do the best we could of kind of accommodating both, keep the clock moving while also giving ourselves the best chance to score. Once we got it to 2nd and 7 on the 7, felt like that isolation underneath cut out of the empty formation to Puka was going to be the best chance. I think that's a play that our guys will be able to make more times than not. It didn't go down the way we wanted, and then we felt like we had a chance, on the screen that we called on 3rd down to maybe be able to punch it in. The benefit of that was at least it keeps, you're keeping the ball in play. You're forcing them to use all of their timeouts, and then, they've got to operate with a little bit more urgency in their 2-minute drive. And right when they get into that kind of fringe area for Myers, they end up, missing a field goal that, he's a great kicker, but that's tough. I don't care who you are.
Absolutely.
That was a fascinating dynamic. We were discussing it too. Like, is Seattle at the point where they almost have to concede a touchdown to maybe get the football back with a chance to answer? I'm sure in the back of your mind, you're saying, hey, their guy hit a 61 51-yarder in this building against us a few years back.
Totally.
He's got range across midfield.
Yeah, because I think the way that they're playing that out, because if you get the stop, then you're just still playing for a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give that up with a touchdown, I think it's one thing if you're saying, all right, it's 1st and goal inside the 1, where now we're at the position of maybe we're running off time, and being able to say, okay, there was a little bit different timetable left in terms of, being able to wind it all the way down where you can make the last play a kick. But it wasn't that. It was a little bit different. And so I think they were doing everything in their power to get a stop, just like we were trying to smartly do everything in our power to score a touchdown.
Absolutely. I've never been told that. Let them score, ever.
That would be a terrible command.
Those situations come up every now and then. It's in one of those deals where it would come up is if you say, okay, they're going to be able to percentage-wise run the game all the way down to where the last play is a field goal and you'll never even get a shot.
Right.
So, but it's few and far between, but it does come up ever so often.
It happens. This is football. Strange things happen in football, right?
No doubt.
Like a victory like that. Unbelievable pulling that out. It
was great. And our guys found a way. And I think that's a big deal for, a lot of our players, but especially the guys that are just getting a chance to be able to learn. I think you learn how to win games and you learn how to find different ways to win games. It doesn't have to be reflected one way. I think the good teams find different ways to be able to win and play off of one another. And yesterday, like I mentioned, I thought the defense kept us in the fight. And then the offense made their plays when they had to. And ultimately, I thought special teams was a positive contributor, as well.
No doubt.
Contributor.
Our first chat since bringing in Carson Wentz, and I'm curious, how close was he to entering that game? Like, did you get there in your own kind of conversations? But then also bigger picture, teaching him your offense versus his unique skill set and crafting something for him, should that be necessary the rest of the season? How do you strike that right balance?
I think he's done a really good job. It's been nice to be around him. He's really smart, very conscientious. Obviously, the first thing that stands out is just what a big physical, imposing presence that he is. The overall athleticism, the ability to push the ball down the field. I thought he did a great job last week in practice. Even the first day of preparation, Matthew wasn't, fully practicing, so he took a lot of our team reps and did an incredible job. And I think that's a credit to him and also Zach Robinson for getting him up to speed as quickly as possible. But this is a guy that's played football at a really high level. He's been exposed to a bunch of different terminology, vernacular, but there's always still some similar things that you're doing. It's just in the difference in the details or the overall verbiage. But the way that his skill set would be utilized if he did have to play, you'd see some similarities, but there's also some unique things that maybe we would be able to do for him, to accentuate his skill set. No different than what you do for, our guy and Matthew, and figuring out that balance. But you still want to try to be able to make sure that you're not making it, two totally different things for the other 10 guys around him.
That's the thing that jumped out. He's an absolute unit.
He is.
Huge.
He's a unit. That's
My
right.
God. I mean, we've seen him on the other side, but seeing him close when you're standing there, I'm like, this dude is huge.
He's a unit.
He's a unit. He's an absolute unit. You like that? See?
I do like
Lettuce
that.
and unit. Yeah.
One other NFL-wide question before I get to the Arizona Cardinals, and that is scoring has been trending down for a couple years now in the National Football League, and there's a lot of thought and dialogue going in about why has it shifted back in the defense's favor. From your perspective, do you see anything that you think could contribute to league-wide scoring being curbed? I
think it's hard to say. I think you give credit. There's a lot of trends. Defenses are doing a really good job, but there's nothing that just stands out in general, because I think when you look at it, it's about executing. If you're doing a great job of executing on one side, that means you're taking their ability to execute out on the other side. And so it's a give and take. I do think that it's a very cyclical league in terms of the schematic things, but one thing that you do see is it's great players making great plays. I think you see, some really special playmakers that can really change the math in a positive way with some of these elite rushers. And they're ultimately the erasers. You have to play really good. You can have certain guys that can extend and do some unique things, or you get the ball in a guy's hands and he's able to really create, but offense typically does take the ability to have all the guys execute, and you're very reliant on, your partner in crime, next to you, or, the other 10 guys around you. If you're one of the 11th, to be able to do your job, whereas sometimes defensively, one guy can be able to wreck it. But all in all, it's the greatest team sport that there is. is. I think coaches do a great job of being able to adjust and adapt. And, you just look at the landscape of the league, and it's always fascinating to see the things that are working on both sides of the football. And then how do you, figure out how to, stay up with those trends, given your players, your personnel, and then the best way to utilize those guys, and then how you match up with the given opponent on a week-to-week basis.
I'm happy the defense is winning. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm happy. We're back. Yeah.
That's good.
I think don't you think it might be the tweener guys too? The safety corners? It seems to be more of those guys now. They're coming out of college. They're ready to play now.
I think so.
Yeah.
But you could make the same case for those joker type of players that, create all those problems, whether it's, what Christian McCaffrey does or, what made Kyle Pitts such an enticing prospect coming out of Florida. There's a lot of guys that can put pressure on you in a variety of ways on both sides, but I don't think it's one all-encompassing thing. I think if you pointed to each of the different units, you could go into a deep dive into why that is or why that isn't, successful or not.
Positionless, right? Is that the new word?
Positionless football,
players,
basketball too, but that's another conversation. Arizona in the first meeting, if I recall, was giving you some looks in the first half that you were trying to solve for in real time, and then it felt like after halftime you just kind of ran through whatever it was that they were giving you. What do you expect in a rematch going to their place next?
I think Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis do a great job of being able to mix it up. We'll look forward to seeing some of the things that they've done since we've played them, but I have tremendous respect for the amount of different things that they can present. And then you've ultimately got to be able to have answers. But our guys did a really good job of just being able to kind of fight through some early problems, work through some solutions, and then ultimately, execute really well, particularly in the second half. So we'll see. And, I know they have some, guys back. Buda Baker's presence will certainly be felt, I'm sure. Once we really dive into the tape, he's a guy that, has always been a baller. And they've got a lot of guys that are playing at a really high rate. And, and then obviously on the other side, getting Kyler Murray back, and you look at the spark that he's brought to them, not only against Atlanta, but, giving them a chance against a really good Houston team yesterday. And it's going to be a great challenge for us.
He should have to dribble when he scrambles. It ain't fair.
I like that.
Can hold the ball for 12 seconds. Plans for Turkey Day? You ready? Yeah? You all set? No?
Yeah, ask Veronica. We're looking forward to getting ready for these guys. And then it's always a special opportunity to be able to get some family time, appreciate, all the different things. God, we have so many blessings. And, but to be able to do it with a group that you really care about, it's football and Thanksgiving kind of always go hand in hand for me, whether it was in high school, in college, or now. And so it's always a fun day. And, we're looking forward to it. We'll get the guys out of here early.
Let's get it.
But make sure we get our preparation.
The Rams haven't played on Thanksgiving since '75.
I did not know that.
Drought in the National Football League. So it's a question of how closely do you want those two to be hand in hand? Do you ever want to play an NFL game on Thanksgiving?
I've done it. I was a part of it. When I was in Washington, we played Dallas on Thanksgiving and in 2012, and that was a pretty fun day. Yeah. We ended up. Having a good outing. But I don't mind watching the games. And, I know Matthew liked playing. You talked to Matthew with all his experience from Detroit, and he enjoyed playing that early kickoff and then being able to watch the games and be with his family for the rest of the day. But I haven't had enough experiences to say otherwise, but I'm not complaining about not playing on Thanksgiving.
That might be cool, man, playing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, awesome. Right. You just want to enjoy your meal, and you don't want to
play, but you play, you win, you go eat. That's fun. That sounds good. Yeah.
I think one Thursday turn per season is enough in terms of the short week.
Right.
I hear you.
Good to see you, Sean.
Yes,
congratulations on the fourth win. Go out and get another against the Cardinals. For D'Marco Farr,
he is
I'm
unit.
JB Long. Couple of units over here. This is the Coach McVay Show presented by Microsoft Surface. Wishing you and yours a healthy, safe, enjoyable Thanksgiving week.